Maybe outside there's a tree, or a wood, a garden, or a magic city. Go and open the door. Maybe a dog's rummaging. Maybe you'll see a face, or an eye, or the picture of a picture. Go and open the door. If there's a fog, it will clear. Go and open the door, even if there's only the darkness ticking, even if there's only the hollow wind, even if nothing is there. Go and open the door. At least there'll be a draft. I've always liked that poem by Miroslav Holub. I like the way it says you never know what you're going to find on the other side of a door. Go and open the door. Maybe outside there's a tree, or a wood, a garden, or a magic city. That's true. You never know what's there until you explore. And the way I explore is by writing poetry. Fishbones lay in the smelly bin. He was a head, a backbone, and a tail. Soon the cats would be in for him. He didn't like to be this way. He shut his eyes and dreamed back. Back to when he was fat and hot on a plate, beside green beans, with lemon juice squeezed on him, and a man with a knife and fork raised, about to eat him. He didn't like to be this way. He shut his eyes and dreamed back. Back to when he was frozen in the freezer, with lamb cutlets and minced beef and prawns. 3 months he was in there. He didn't like to be this way. He shut his eyes and dreamed back. Back to when he was squirming in a net, with thousands of other fish, on the deck of a boat, and the rain falling wasn't wet enough to breathe in. He didn't like to be this way. He shut his eyes and dreamed back. Back to when he was darting through the sea, past crabs and jellyfish and others like himself, or surfacing to jump for flies and feel the sun on his face. He liked to be this way. He dreamed hard to try and stay there. A poet called Robert Frost described poetry as a fresh look and a fresh listen. I was out for a walk one day. I was up on a hillside and I could see a field down below. Just an ordinary field, with cattle grazing in it. But when I got home, it got me thinking. I asked myself how many people had walked across that field, and how long it was there, and if anything had happened there. Where the boy sees cattle, there was a battle. But the boy doesn't know it. How could he know it? He sees a field, no sign of a shield, or an axe, or a sword, not a cross word, not a single shout, just grass on the snout of a bullock as he stands on a rock, chewing, then mooing, till the boy walks on. But when the sun sinks in the sea, the boy would see, instead of a farmer, ghosts in armour on ghost horses. He'd hear curses, and the night sky, miles high, would ring with steel striking steel, and the ghostly dead and the odd head would lie on the ground. But not a sound will the boy hear. He won't be near. He'll be home in bed, as good as dead. I think poets are a lot like spies. They're always on the lookout for anything interesting, or different, or mysterious. All sorts of things you see and hear can trigger the imagination. I keep a notebook, and I jot down in it anything that strikes me. I have one poem that grew out of being in a tube station, and hearing one girl say to another, "Me and Benchy, my teddy bear." I got wondering about that. Why was she talking about the bear like it was a person? It seemed to me to be the start of a story. Another poem grew out of going for a walk to the beach one day, and seeing these two cows walking along by the water's edge. I wanted to take a photograph, but I had no camera with me. I started asking myself, how did these cows get there? And did they like the beach? And once, a long time ago, when I was traveling in Germany, I saw a signpost to a town called Heaven. That set me wondering. 1 mile to heaven, said the signpost, and a voice from a speaker said the same. And in the distance, half hidden by trees, he saw roofs and lampposts and began to run. 1 mile to heaven, said the voice again. 1 mile, he thought, and slowed down. He was in no hurry. He liked trees. He thought about heaven as the name for a town. Who'd called it that? Who could live there? What if they were bad? Did people die there? 1 mile to heaven, said the voice again, but quieter now that the roofs had grown. He shook his smiling head on the street of heaven. He'd imagined free sweets and model trains. He found a town much like his own, and posted a letter to his mum. Sometimes to step out of yourself and imagine you're somebody else. Now, an old ship like this, it must have gone some places. So let's ask ourselves a few questions about that. Imagine the kind of places it would have gone to. Any ideas? Jamaica. And what would it have been going there for?
Bananas.
Bananas. Anything else?
Coconuts.
Coconuts. Where else would it go?
I'm the Maria of Sumter, a tourist attraction. I'm situated in the docks. I remember better days. Days when I used to skip back and forth across the world. 3 weeks to America, 3 weeks back. I used to import livestock, fruit and veg. It was a messy business. I remember better days. Being built
Old buildings crashing to the floor. Clears the path for modern buildings. New buildings flying up, up to the sky. I wonder why. The sky's so blue, smoky here in the warehouses.
Now, I wonder why. Why did you put that in there? Might it have been to get your little rhyme?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the end, the world is changing in the sun, and on the horror just begun. That seems to me to be a better rhyme, because I can...
None of them were meant to rhyme, but they just did accidentally.
Well, rhyme is nice, but if you get a little suspicion that a rhyme word is just in there to make the rhyme, and then if you try to cover over the rhyme and ask yourself, would that word be there if I didn't have to rhyme? And if there's a little whispered no, then it's dodgy.
A boat sailed past the docklands, and it thought, what's been going on here? Where are the smooth white buildings, big and monstrous and clear?
A boat sailed past the docklands.
But when I'm writing a poem, I always try and put a poem through what I call a frisk draft. You know frisking, when you're going through an airport and people are checking to see if there's anything there. And I go through the poem and I really look at every single word to see if it sounds right or if it's the best word for it.
A boat sailed past the docklands, and it thought, why do we need all this? The sea seemed to answer to make more money with business and offices. A boat sailed past the docklands, and it thought, what was wrong with the old? Why did they build these big clean buildings? They'll never get all of them sold.
Ideas for poems can come from anywhere. Sometimes I'll start a poem from something I've read or seen on TV. Or sometimes listening to a piece of music can make me want to write. Recently I was asked to write some poems to Saint-Saëns' Carnival of the Animals. The Carnival of the Animals are a series of short pieces, each portraying an animal. There's an elephant, there are kangaroos, fossils, and one piece of music about an aquarium. When I was writing my poem, I had to listen very hard to the music because I was trying to picture in my mind what the fish and the coral and the rocks would look like. And as I listened to the music, I made notes. And as I made these notes, the poem gradually grew into a sort of an imaginary journey, somebody walking around the aquarium, looking in each tank and thinking about all the things they could see. Here, in this watery world, life itself began 3,000 million years ago. The land was empty, no plants or animals existed, but in the shallow seas, 1,000 million tiny creatures, each smaller than a pinhead, tinier than a pencil dot, drifted in the swirling currents. A glittering mist of tiny specks, not plants or animals, but the seeds of every living thing that creeps and runs and flies and blossoms. Tank after tank, like caskets full of buried treasure, display their riches in the subterranean gloom, fish of every shape and size. Some lie like golden rods among the sand and pebbles. Others dart and twist and twine as bright as jewels among the glistening strands. And one or two lurk in the clefts and hollows. Only a flash of teeth shows where they wait. For who? For you? Here, in this watery world, life itself began. And in this glass, our own reflections mingle with the treasures and the terrors of the deep. What we're going to do now is I'm going to play you your special piece of music. What I want you to try to do is think to yourself. Try and get pictures in your mind. Try and think of where whatever's happening might be happening. Try and get an idea of the time of day. And think to yourself, who might be the people in it. And think to yourself, what is going to happen. So think to yourself all the time, where, when, who, and what.
I'm in a room, there's a table with a bottle. The room is filled with darkness. I look out of the window, I see the moon, for it is night. There's no one there but me. The bottle starts to rock, then it falls into the air. It dives down until it finds the floor. The bottle lies on the floor in bits, for it is a bottle no more. I stand there looking at the bits of bottle. It looks like a murder. A draught of wind scatters the bits around the room, then all I am left with is a room with a table.
I think that's great, and it's got such a strong rhythm already. It sounds like a poem. The problem is, it doesn't actually look yet like a poem. So what we need to do is to work out where the line endings are going to be. So if you'd read that through, I'll just make a little mark where you take a pause, and that can be the line endings. Okay, so read that through once more.
I'm in a room, there's a table with a bottle. The room is filled with darkness. I look out of the window, I see the moon, for it is night. There's no one there but me. The bottle starts to rock, then it falls into the air. It dives down until it finds the floor. The bottle lays in bits, for it is a bottle no more. I stand there looking at the bits of bottle. It looks like a murder. A draught of wind scatters the bits around the room. Then all I am left with is a room with a table.
I was running past hedgerows and small groups of sheep. I saw a wood. It was on top of a small hill. I ran as fast as I could towards it. I reached the safety of the woods. The hunt is called off because the horses cannot get between the trees. I lie there panting for a while.
Right, okay. That was called what?
Fox hunt.
Fox hunt. And you were actually...
Fox.
Right, okay. But what would interest me in a poem from a fox's point of view, right, is not how you'd see the woods and trees, because I can do that as well. You know, I suppose I could get down on all fours and have a look around. But how do you think the fox would feel?
Scared.
Yeah, scared, right? So what I suggest you do is you sort of organise your poem. This is why poems are organised in stanzas, in verses, in sections. In sections of the chase. So you've got one bit for the beginning of the chase, with what the fox is seeing and how he's feeling. Then another section, right, for that time when he thinks he's safe.
I lie in the plush green grass, watching my prey. My mouth starts to water as I watch the rabbit. It is completely oblivious to me. I pounce. It is not a bad kill for a fox. After all, it is my first. Then I hear a strange sound. It is a sound that brings my heart into my mouth. I see some men on horses. They hold sticks in their hands. The dogs by their side start to chase me. I hear a loud bang. I run away. I run through fields, past small groups of cattle. I see a wood. I run towards it. I hear another bang. Some soil flies up into my face. I reach the woods, run up the stream and hide in some bushes. Why do they chase me? When I was hunting the rabbit, it was 1 against 1. What I have just been through was 1 against many. The hunter becomes the hunted.